Alright, so I'm going to show you how to seal bags the correct way. I saw a lot of videos on YouTube to try to find a good one, but all of them did them the wrong way. Some of them would, for example, have the product, they'd seal it like here, and then you have all this extra stuff, and then they'd either take it and cut off with the scissors, or they have the special overpriced machine that has a cutter on it, right? You don't need that. There's no point for that, like I'll show you later. Or other people do is they'll take the product, they'll seal it, right? And then they'll tear it off this direction. So they'll tear it off like this. That's the wrong way. You don't want to do that. And the reason why, here I'll show you real quick without anything in this bag. So you're going to seal the bag, right? The side that you pull off on is going to have the weaker seal, because essentially the part that you're tearing on is creating a weak seal on the plastic, because this other side is still stuck underneath that sealer, squeezed in between that, and what you're ripping off is a very thin edge, very, very loosely sealed. You don't want that, right? So what you want to do is you want to rip off the excess while it's still hot. It takes a little bit of practice. You want to rip off the excess on the opposite side of the product. So I'll demonstrate real quick, right? So I tore it off on the other side, right? And what do we get out of that? So here is, let me focus real quick. So here is that good side, right? Very thick. You see it's almost like 3 to 4 maybe millimeters, right? That's good. So that's going to keep your product safe. But then let's look at this other side. This is the side that I ripped off on. Look at that. There's barely anything there. Okay. So, and then look how easy if you put anything heavy in this. Look how easy it rips apart. That's nothing. That's barely holding together. So, and then this is great because I could actually reopen that bag that I just sealed by tearing off on the side that I want to have the bag on, right? And since it's such a weak seal, I basically just rip it all apart by hand. I don't need scissors or anything. Okay, so now that you know why you want to tear the product or the bag on the side away from the product, I'll just show you a couple of other tips to seal the product securely. So we got the product here. Let me focus this. Alright, that's good. So we got the product here, right? And then you want to get as flat as possible, bag as flat as possible, because any ridges create air gaps, and that just makes a loose seal. And then while holding the product, it's good to have like a little platform here, so the product can be supported by something. I don't have one here, but so you put the product there, right? You support it, and then you kind of try to make the bag taut, and then press down. Once it clicks, it gets cool, right? So you want to move quick, so I have to do this again. It gets cool. You tear off on the opposite side of the product. You give it an extra second, and you push down a little more, because the bag is still kind of in plastic form that's kind of melted. And when you push down, it creates a tighter seal, flatter one, much better. And then you lift up after giving it a second to cool on this edge, because it'll still be stuck on here. So you don't want to just kind of like yank it off as soon as you lift this part up, because the plastic still is going to be kind of molten, and you're going to just ruin that whole seal that you created. So you give it a second to cool down, then you lift it up. And then here, as we can see, go. Yeah, so that's excellent. That is what I call a very good seal with no excess, because you can take it off. You don't need a cutter, you don't need anything like that, right? If you want to get really fancy, take off this extra part, what you do is you want to get this extra air out, right? So I have a little screw that let me focus a second. A little screw in the table, literally just to poke a hole in the bag, right, so the air can escape somehow. Put the thing back on there, press it down, take it off with my finger, push it down a little bit again, and then give it a second cool down, lift it off. There you go. Really doesn't get any better than that. No cutter necessary. Just make sure you tear off on the opposite side of the product, not on the side of the product. And then that you have something, some kind of thing here that you could support the product on while you tear it off on the other side. You could use anything, a book, another product, whatever, doesn't matter. Just have something to support it so you could use your other hand to tear off on the other side. Alright, so that's about it. Pretty simple, and I think it saves you time and money. So there you go.